Hi everyone, thank you for joining us on our Wednesday TNT. It's the middle of the working week, and some people ask me to follow up on stories that I've reported in the past. Well, sometimes the information simply isn't available, but I do when I can. But we'll start today with a few updates on old stories. Starting with this from Bloomberg. It was actually behind a paywall, but it says a bill to legalise same-sex marriage in Thailand heads to Parliament. And the points it makes are the bill supported by most major parties, but it needs His Majesty the King's approval. Thailand would be the first in the region to codify marriage equality, and just posted on their Twitter, well, it's twitter.com, called X now, a bill to legalise same-sex marriage could face a vote in Thailand's parliament as early as today. Now an update to the story about the policeman on a high-powered motorcycle who hit a female doctor, an ophthalmologist, on a zebra crossing in Bangkok. And the Bangkok Post reporting police motorcyclist ordered to pay 27 million baht for killing doctor on the crossing. Just as a bit of background, this was reported back in 2022. Pedestrians killing at Bangkok crosswalk sparks outrage, derision among Thais. It was reported in Banar News. And it reported outrage and dark humour have flowed freely in Bangkok this week after a policeman on an unlicensed Ducati motorcycle allegedly struck and killed a young doctor at a crosswalk and then tried to enter the monkhood to atone for the deed after being slapped with 7 charges. And the story came to symbolise the perils citizens of the Thai capital face when crossing its traffic-choked streets on foot, even at the black and white crosswalks where motor vehicles are supposed to yield to pedestrians. And back to the current story, the civil court on Monday ordered a police motorcyclist who ran down and killed a doctor on a zebra crossing back in 2022 to pay 27.3 million baht in compensation to her parents. The order was made against Police Lieutenant Corporal Nora Witch, who was 23, who was driving the Ducati big bike that ran down and killed Dr. Waralak, who was 33 at the time. And on the day he'd earlier picked up a police document and had overtaken other vehicles about 30 metres before the crossing. He was travelling at an estimated 108 to 128 kilometres per hour when he hit the woman, an ophthalmologist. I don't know what the actual speed limit is at that zebra crossing, but it's probably something like 40 or 50 kilometres an hour. Of course, he should have stopped. The rider did not stop to help the victim, who died within an hour of being hit. And the policeman had also faced criminal charges in the case and was convicted and sentenced to prison. In January, the Court of Appeal increased his prison term to 5 years and 1 month. So to follow up story number 3, and again to the Bangkok Post, and pesky monkeys outwitting human hunters in Lop Buri. Macaques won the first round of their battle with park officials trying to trap them in Lop Buri province, where the catch was far below projections. And they'd hoped to cage 30 monkeys on the first day of the operation, but later admitted only 9 had been caught. But an official from the people who are charged with catching the monkeys told Channel 3 the monkeys were already aware that they were being hunted and the vehicles and tactics used to catch them. The hunters would make some changes, including swapping their camouflage uniforms for civilian attire. But he said macaques are social animals. The ones in the cages have sent signals to the others, informing them how they were caught. Of course, jumping on their mobile phones. Hey, look, these guys, they've got great big cages and they're wearing camo outfits. Watch out for them. And the 3-day operation to thin the number of the frequently aggressive monkeys in Lop Buri municipality continues today. Here's some video. And the same official said the operations on Tuesday had moved to other locations in the municipality. They were also being more selective, targeting aggressive monkeys and their leaders. And local residents were helping by pointing out the most annoying animals to the catchers. And officials estimate there are about 2,700 monkeys roaming the municipality, most of them near the Praprang Samyot historical site near the railway station. And that video we were using during the discussion came from Newsflare, 2.8 million subscribers. And another follow-up story, again from the Bangkok Post, a forensic officer charged over Vorayut speed data. Well, this relates to Vodayut Uvidya, who's the grandson of the founder of Red Bull, who was in a grey Ferrari back in September 2012 in the Tonglo area of Sukhumvit when he hit the policeman and killed him. But a follow-up, a former senior prosecutor for the Office of the Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against a former forensic officer who changed the recorded speed of the infamous hit-and-run case of Red Bull Scion Vodayut boss Uvidya back in 2012. And this refers to a former officer from the Office of Police Forensic Science who inspected the hit-and-run scene in 2012 and later changed his statement to lower the car speed of Mr. Vodayut's Ferrari from 177 kilometres an hour to 79. And Mr. Vodayut's been on the run since his Ferrari fatally hit a Tonglo police officer on September the 3rd, 2012. And several charges against him were dropped, including a speeding charge, after its one-year statute of limitations expired a year later, followed by another charge of failing to help a crash victim. Now, the only remaining charge against him is reckless driving, causing death, obviously the most serious, which carries a penalty of up to 10 years in jail and has a 15-year statute of limitations, and that will expire in September 2027. So here we are, 14 years later, and it's taken that long to prosecute this particular forensic officer who fiddled the speed in the particular police report. And that is it for those updates on some existing stories here in Thailand. Going to some news stories today, and well, the issue of casinos seems to be filling up some of the news space at the moment. This from the PattayaNews.com. Pattaya Mayor eyes opportunity in casino entertainment complex project, Jomtien suggested as a prime location. And the Pattaya City Mayor says he sees this project as a chance to create a new economic dimension for Pattaya, similar to Singapore's successful tourism model. But he says the Thai government needs to have clear regulations in place first to limit the project's potentially negative effects. And the mayor further highlighted the possibility of developing the complex on a large area like in Jomtien near Pattaya, which has a large enough available land as the complex could take up to over 1,000 rai. He touted benefits like job creation, increased residential demand, better tourism, not exactly sure what he means by that, and an overall positive impact on the city's economy. He also cited the close proximity to the very underused Utupao airport, but some people in Thailand just can't wait for the casino. And also reported in the PattayaNews.com, Thai police raid illegal gambling den in Saraburi, 36 individuals arrested. Saraburi just north of the capital Bangkok. And on the 25th of March, the Thai Crime Suppression Division launched a raid operation on a residence in Saraburi after receiving a local report of illegal gambling activity without permission. I think even if you ask for permission, you still can't gamble. And the police surrounded the area to capture 36 individuals and confiscated 30,000 baht in cash. And the gambling den had been operating for only 2 days before being shut down. And look at them there, the hardened criminals. I mean, maybe they should be arrested for fashion atrocities, but anyway, going on. Initially, the police pressed charges of conspiring to commit illegal gambling without permission against the gamblers before escorting them to the Nongdon police station for further legal processing. So gambling and casinos, legal or otherwise, continues to fill a lot of space here in Thailand's social media and media space, as is this story ongoing and reported again in the Pattaya Mayor. Foreigners working without a permit in Thailand face crackdown. Not necessarily a new headline, but a little bit more information here. An article written by Barry Kenyon. And the Business and Employment Ministries appear shocked after discovering that thousands of foreigners are involved in illegal employment in Thai resorts, such as Phuket, Chiang Mai and Pattaya. Many are undocumented entrants from neighbouring countries, particularly Myanmar. However, foreigners from further afield, including UK, mainland Europe, Russia and China, have been discovered working illegally in occupations including taxi drivers, tour operators and real estate agents. And the Move Forward Party MP says they're taking jobs reserved for them or buying land at inflated prices, which in turn led to increases in the cost of living for all. And he says the most serious abuse involved foreigners hiring Thai nominees in international trading companies. Nominees are Thais who have no stake or interest in the business but are paid to keep quiet. They usually have to sign updated letters of resignation in case they get greedy or are no longer needed. And he said that some parliamentarians are calling for legal changes to underpin the latest crackdown. And he said the land code needs revision to insist that purchase of land is subject to more scrutiny lest proxies are present in the company. A more controversial suggestion is to add the words "working not allowed" on the airport or border entry stamps of tourists and others without authorised work permit documentation. And that article finishes the last sentence there. Given that Thailand's now welcoming millions more visitors without prior approval, the need for new and comprehensive employment law is becoming a priority. That story written by Barry Kenyon, published in PattayaMayor.com. I got an interesting note. We get lots of interesting comments every single day. This one stood out. And from Matthew Baker, who said, if they do crack down on the use of Thai nominees, Phuket and Samui would be empty and property prices would slump with the ensuing property glut. He says, I hope they do this, but I'm sure they won't. As someone who spent a lot of time looking at houses in Phuket to buy, nearly every single house used the Thai nominee system, all done via so-called law firms. It's also a big problem in Bangkok, Hua Hin and Pattaya, so I don't see it happening. The housing market collapse would be catastrophic in the tourist areas, one for the record books. Now, just a couple of months ago, we had the Thailand International Motor Show. I went there, and now we've got the Bangkok Motor Show. And Thai PBS World reports electric vehicles take centre stage at the 45th Bangkok International Motor Show. And electric vehicles, particularly those from leading Chinese brands, are sparking interest among car enthusiasts and very much stealing the spotlight. 49 brands from major global automakers across Europe, the US, Japan, Korea, India, China and Vietnam. And held for 12 days from March the 27th till April the 7th at the Challenger Hall, Muang Thong Thani. So, if you like cars, that's certainly a show worth going to. I think I'll probably pop up to Bangkok next week and have a bit of a look. Such is my interest in cars, as we go to this story about sovereignty and whether an island is still in Thailand, maybe it's in Cambodia. And Koh Kood sovereignty not at risk, as reported by BangkokPost.com. And the government's given its assurance that Thailand will not lose sovereignty over Koh Kood, Intrat province, to Cambodia in future negotiations between the two countries with regards to the sharing of marine resources in their overlapping claims area. And it's clearly stated in the treaty signed between France and Siam back in 1907 that France returned Trat and islands between the Ling Cape and Koh Kood to Siam. And the minister said he agreed with the Senate's suggestion that any new negotiations about the demarcation of the disputed continental shelf in the Thai-Cambodian overlapping claims area must be conducted alongside any talks on the sharing of underwater resources. And the Thai and Cambodian leaders subsequently agreed to further discuss the sharing of resources in the overlapping claims area. So we're talking here about Koh Kood, and you can see there Bangkok, and you've got Pattaya, and you head further down from Rayong, and then you've got Koh Chang pretty close, but Koh Kood very, very close indeed to the Thai-Cambodian border. Put a red circle where the Cambodian border meets the sea, a very thin isthmus of Thailand there all the way down to that border, and Koh Kood just offshore. And a very pretty island there in the Gulf of Thailand, maybe one that you haven't been to yet. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with some of those stories around Thailand. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you to our sponsor, 5starmarinephuket.com, and we'll see you again tomorrow.